All right, so now we're going to get to the fun part, the macroinvertebrate sampling. To sample those macroinvertebrates, we're going to use this. This is called a D-net, and basically it's kind of got this D-shaped opening that you can put on the bottom, on the substrate of the stream, and sample from the area immediately upstream into the net. And then from there, we're going to empty out the net contents into that white tub that we'd filled with water earlier, water from the stream, and then we'll pick out all the bugs and put them into a sample jar. If we were sorting in the field and we might want to release these organisms back into the wild, we would use an ice cube tray to kind of sort them out into different types of organisms and then identify them, count them, and put them back. But these we're going to collect and take back to the lab so that we can put together some pictures, some photo sets from each sampling. And also, if you happen to be in the lab, you can work on these, work on identifying these under the microscope as kind of a pre-lab, or if the weather's terrible or anything like that. So, some other tools that can be helpful. Transferring the macroinvertebrates into the alcohol can be difficult, so we might use tweezers. I've got a couple different sizes depending on the organisms we're dealing with. Little tiny aquarium net might be helpful, turkey baster, or some tiny little pipettes. One of these I've enlarged a little bit. All right, before I go out into the water, I want to show you the technique. So basically, we're going to put the net on the substrate. Make sure it's lying flat against the substrate. You don't want to have a big old rock and there's room underneath to escape. We're going to point the opening of the net upstream so the water will flow through it. And we're going to start with the big stuff, the cobble. We're going to pick those up and brush them off in front of the net, and the water would carry any organisms stuck to those into the net, and then kind of place those outside the sampling area. And then with the smaller stuff, the gravel and sand or whatever, we're going to kind of disturb that a little bit with our hand or our feet if it's really deep, to get those organisms into the net. And then how much area are we going to sample? We want to try and keep it consistent if we're going to try and quantify. So I'm going to use the width of the net as the sampling area, and then 1/2 meter, which is this distance here, or the distance between here and the front of the net. So if you imagine that, like out in a rectangle around like that. So I'm going to go ahead into the stream and take the first sample and see what we get. And I'm going to be careful. I did see some fish in here, so we're collecting invertebrates. So I'm going to try and avoid those fish. They're probably going to get scared and run out of the way. But if we do happen to catch any and get them into our tub, we will be sure to release them back into the stream. I'm going to try not to disturb too much of the upstream habitat. Okay, I think I'm going to start around here. I'll place the net. That's pretty good. Remember, we're going about 1/2 meter in front. The other thing is we want to limit the amount of time we sample. If we sample for an hour, we could find a lot more than if we just sampled for a minute or two. And actually, I think some of the sampling protocols, it's only 30 seconds. So I'm going to try to do this fairly quickly. And here we go. Just getting those big cobbles away, kind of scraping them off. whole lot of flow right here, so I'm going to kind of be careful to not miss anything. Now, since this water's pretty deep, I'm just going to kind of kick it a little bit in front of it. Kind of kick it towards the opening of the net, just kind of the width of the net. And then kind of scoop up and towards the front. Okay. That is our first sample. And we will put this in the tub and see what we got. The leaf there actually might be some critters on the leaf, so I'm going to put that in there. And just kind of turn the net inside out into the tub. And all critters. Macroinvertebrates. Okay. I'm going to take another look at the net and make sure I didn't leave anything inside of it. That's pretty good. Yeah. So, I'm going to get the tripod a little lower so you can see what we're dealing with here. Okay. Yeah. Sorry for that. Okay. So this is our sample. And it doesn't look like there's a whole lot in there, but I think I saw some organisms. Oh yeah, there's one kind of swimming around. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer the contents of this into our sample jar, and then we can count it back in the lab later. All right. And I guess the other thing I should mention, I'm going to take 8 samples from each site. And so we have some variation. We can pool all that data together and maybe get some of the variations, capture some of the habitat variations that are in this stream.